Welcome to the Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. This is a weekly update for parents on all things social media and big tech. Before I get into the headlines for the week of September 9th, 2024, I want to thank this week's episode sponsor, Bark Technologies. I'm really, truly so grateful that these days we parents have safer device options for our kids. The Bark phone was built for families who are looking to ramp up their child's online safety. It has parental controls built into it and allows us to manage their entire digital experience super easily. Let's get on to the updates. So it is National Suicide Prevention Week. Everything I do here at Scrolling to Death is to prevent the suicide of children, because suicide is now the second leading cause of death for kids aged 10 to 14. And a lot of kids are learning about suicide at the age of 10 from social media. I did a separate video. It's just 3.5 minutes. I put it over on Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn. Please take the time to head over and get educated on the link between social media use and suicide. But this week, I just want to remind you briefly to check in with your kids. If they are experiencing any anxiety or depression, or even no signs at all, it is extremely important to ask them if they're okay. Ask them if there's anything you can do to help them. Ask them about their tech use. Also monitor their screens and their social media. Because when it comes to social media, it's not a matter of if, but when your child is going to get served with harmful content. Okay, so you've been hearing a lot about phones in school in the past few months. But what about school-issued devices? This is something that came to a head for me this week when I found a self-harm video being promoted to my daughter on her school-issued iPad during a spot check I did in her classroom. I was prompted to do a spot check because another student was served an ad for an AI girlfriend that featured a completely nude woman. After years of concern just building about these devices, I am now 100% sure that my children are in harm's way when given devices at school. So personally, I have fully opted out of iPads for my second and third grade children. But I was told that that is not possible, that my school needed a few weeks to figure out a solution, but I am now pushing back and willing to take legal action if needed in order to immediately opt my children out of devices. It is mine and your parental right for your children to receive a safe education and when and how they are introduced to certain technologies. There are more and more parents who are taking these steps across the country. Please follow along on this journey over on Instagram, Scrolling to Death. I just also interviewed attorney Julie Liddell with the EdTech Law Center to answer dozens of questions I received from parents like you, questions about our rights as parents related to schools and tech. That interview will be available in the next day or two. Okay, moving on. This week, the attorneys general from 42 U.S. states have demanded that Congress slap a Surgeon General's warning label on social media apps. They're saying that the algorithm-driven social media platforms are threatening the safety of our kids, and parents need to know about it. This warning label is similar to what is already placed on cigarette packs, since we now know that 3 or more hours per day spent on social media doubles our kids' risk for depression and anxiety. I like this idea. I do think that parents will think twice about allowing their children free reign on social media if there was a very clear warning label. But obviously, this isn't going to clear up all the harms of social media. It's just one step. Another major step to protect kids from social media harms is the Kids Online Safety Act, or KOSA. This bill passed in the Senate 91-3 with bipartisan support. Next, it needs passage in the House. I am personally traveling to DC next week with many parent advocates and organizations to meet with House members in their offices and ask them to co-sponsor KOSA. If you are not familiar with KOSA, scroll back to my recent interviews with either Alex Fraser or Patrick Leiden or Senator Ted Cruz. I have a really informative one coming this Monday with Josh Golan that answers a ton of questions about the bill. Josh actually explains specifically how our children will be protected if KOSA were to pass. Next up, I want to talk briefly about TikTok, who will be appearing in U.S. appeals court on Monday. TikTok has sued the U.S. government to try to overturn a law requiring TikTok's parent company ByteDance to divest ownership by January 19th, or we will remove it from our app stores here in the U.S. TikTok is arguing that the law is unconstitutional, believing that it violates the user's right to free speech under the First Amendment. This is a crock of shit. Since TikTok has sued us, tons of studies are revealing things, and national security experts are sharing with us that TikTok is not only being influenced by the Chinese Communist Party, that the CCP itself is censoring TikTok so that TikTok users' opinions line up with pro-China sentiment. The fact that the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, has full access to the data of 170 million Americans is extremely concerning. We should all be in favor of TikTok being sold to a company that is not connected to an adversarial nation. There are wonderful companies like Project Liberty who are putting together a people's bid to buy TikTok and make it safer. You can learn more about that in my interview with the founder of Project Liberty, American billionaire Frank McCourt. And I will keep you updated on this developing situation involving TikTok. But let's touch on Snapchat before we close out. So Snapchat has a lot of harmful features, but what I want to talk about today is their My AI chatbot. This was rolled out in February of 2023 and is powered by ChatGPT. Snapchat says that My AI can answer trivia questions, offer advice on the perfect birthday gift, or help plan a hiking trip. But what Snapchat rolled out is far more nefarious. For example, when a 15-year-old asked My AI to help her plan a birthday party, it gave her advice on how to mask the smell of alcohol and pot. When kids have an essay due for school, My AI will just write it for them. My AI recently coached a 13-year-old girl on how to set the mood when having sex with a 31-year-old man, when the 13-year-old girl shared the age difference with the chatbot. After some of this was exposed, Snapchat's own spokesperson said, My AI is an experimental product for Snapchat Plus subscribers. Please do not share any secrets with My AI and do not rely on it for advice. But Snapchat did not roll back My AI after these issues. They made it available to all users. So parents, this is your reminder that Snapchat My AI is not safe. You can go to settings in Snapchat to remove My AI from your child's account. And like I said, the My AI chatbot is only one of the dozens of harmful features of Snapchat. Like their most recent update that Snapchat will begin serving ads within private messages. That's something to warn your children about. To learn more about Snapchat, please listen to my interview with attorney Laura Marquez Garrett. It's called Snapchat is a Scam and is available now. That is all I have time for today on the Big Tech Gut Check here at Scrolling to Death. Thank you for getting educated on the platforms that our children are spending their time on. Thank you for being open to this conversation and to taking steps to protect your child online. I will catch you next week.